Hey everybody, Dorothy here, longtime professional astrologer. We're going to talk about April 17th. It's Easter. Happy Easter if you celebrate. Happy Sunday if you don't. Whatever's going on, let's talk about the astrology. Once we're done with the astrology, we'll do the astro dice as always, and we'll pull a card from this deck. So let me share. We'll get started now. Let's share what do we have going on for today, Sunday, April 17th. It's a family gathering day. It really is, whether you celebrate Easter in a religious way or as just an opportunity to get together. We are in the full moon phase because that will last for a couple of days. The moon has moved on it is in the sign of Scorpio now. It did that, looks like 8:23 p.m. Eastern time, Saturday night. So the moon in Scorpio, we call it deep, we call it intense. The moon is our feelings, our emotions when it's in the sign of Scorpio. That's fixed water, that creates an intensity and a depth that we don't see when the moon is in other zodiac signs. So especially today, if you're hanging out with family, because family is always the biggest thing, the biggest triggers. Yeah, and it could be, the stuff that we don't want to come to the surface, that does happen at times. It can be the biggest triggers, but it can also be really deep and healing, and we can really see and feel some things that are very profound throughout the day. Let me see. Later in the evening, the main aspect for the moon today, there's quite a few aspects with the moon today. It's as an applying aspect at noontime Eastern Daylight Time, it's opposite Mercury. So it's again, that's the value of communication. So that moon in Scorpio is engaging in deep conversation, not for everybody, but for some. And then it is also making a trine aspect over here. Both of these will happen. Let me look at my ephemeris. Both of those will happen, somewhere around 7 o'clock, just before 7 p.m. Eastern time, today on the 17th, that trine aspect over there to Venus, which is really nice. It's a nice, beautiful water trine. A water trine just means that both of the signs, by the math, 120-ish degrees, they're both in water signs, Pisces and Scorpio, Venus and the moon. So this is a really nice, comforting, beautiful, easy evening. So do what you can. At the same time that it makes its exact aspect to Venus, it's opposite Uranus. And so sudden insight and inspiration can show up. I'm going to leave us with that. The more astrology you want, you can get more. Please come and support me over on Patreon. That's a simple, easy monthly way to financially support this work. This work is YouTube. Over there, there's more. Let's do the dice now. Let's see what the astrology dice is. This is just like asking a question and pulling an oracle card. So we're going to get some insight. Sometimes it matches the astrology and sometimes it does not. Let's see what they tell us. So if you have a question in mind or something that's, I picked it up without looking at it. Sometimes these are hard to see. I've had them a while, so I probably could get a little gold marker and remark them so I could see them better. So let's try that again. Not enough light. We got Neptune. Where's that? In the second house. Oh, Neptune, Capricorn in the second house. Well, quite interesting. So this has really very little to do with anything in the sky today. So the energy of this is quite separate from the astrology in the sky. Neptune in Capricorn, that's really not a great place for Neptune. Neptune just wants to kind of go with the flow and just sort of, just meander here and there, help everybody out, engage in a lot of compassion and understanding. And it will still do that, but it has to do it through the sign of Capricorn. So that tells us that we can, what we value, second house, is let me see, I'm trying to put that, how would I put that together, because these two don't go together well when Neptune is in the sign of Capricorn. A lot of you are born with that. That was in the late 80s, early 90s, I believe, if I can remember right. It's about finding your substance, right? Your structure and your foundation. in your spiritual practices, that's Neptune, and your structure and your foundations, Capricorn, and what you value in that. So it could be that somebody here, whomever, is looking to reestablish a nice solid foundation, something that you've valued for a long time and may have gotten away from. A nice, strong, solid foundation in your spiritual practices, or even in regard to maybe you did a lot of some volunteer work and got away from that. I used to do some volunteer work at the homeless shelter when I lived over in Portsmouth, and definitely got away from that because, you know, COVID. So we stopped it and it's back on, but I don't live over that way anymore. So needless to say, something like that, you know, you could be wanting to put getting your spiritual practice back into something that is much more of value to you now, something that you really need. We really need to have a solid foundation in our spiritual practices. All right, let's get a little bit from this deck of cards. So while I'm just finishing up my shuffling, don't forget to subscribe here. And if you comment below the video, that really helps YouTube know that you like it. So it'll serve it up. There's an awful lot of competition out there for astrologers. So, you know, hey, whatever little bump you can give me, that'd be fantastic. I definitely would appreciate that. So let's get this out. So what card did we pick here today? Let's take a look. Song of the Wild. That's beautiful. So yeah, Song of the Wild. So definitely has a lot to do with taking risks, you know, be wild, you know, like just get out there, take a risk, do something different. You know, if you're called to go somewhere, even if you're like a little nervous or don't have a lot of courage to do it, find a little bit of support and go do that. This is a wonderful opportunity for us to, it's what it's telling us. The card's telling us, it's like, this is a wonderful opportunity to try something new, try something different, experience life. All right, I'm going to leave us all with that. Thank you guys, and hope you have a beautiful Easter, and I will see you again tomorrow. Namaste.